Right. Jake Kelly.
Let's do it. What's up?
The Don.
Hell yeah.
Family. So, Jake, I've known you for probably 5 years now.
Something like that.
Something like that. You're doing some big things.
Trying
to. Gracie 717 MMA fighter, now fashion mogul out in the West Coast on LA.
Trying to work some shit.
Let's hear what you're up to. What's new in the world?
Well, why don't we can start back a little.
Let's do it.
Where we first met. You want to do that?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, back at the gym, the good old Gracie days.
Gracie 717 days.
Back with kickboxing. So I guess I started doing that in like 8th, 9th grade. Started training like 5 days a week with my brother. Going to Delaware all the time, doing that type shit. And then kind of just escalated from there, getting more and more serious about it. Had a couple fights under my belt. 3-0 undefeated kickboxer, you know. You feel me? And then once high school ended, moved out to California, started doing my whole fashion thing.
So, you've been out in California for how long now?
About 3 years. 3 years in September.
3 years in September.
Yeah.
And I'm sporting it. Thank you for the new shirt.
Of course. Quit your job, join the family. Everybody.
Yeah. So what's the family? Tell me about, like, you know, what's the school? Well, first of all, tell me about your decision from Lancaster life to LA life and how you made that decision and everything you had to do in order to make it happen. So
I kind of just was thinking to myself what I really wanted to do. Like after high school, what I wanted to do with my life, I guess. I love fighting, I love doing all that, but I wasn't really trying to get punched in the head for the rest of my life, you feel me?
Oh, trust me, I feel you. I've been there.
I was always into clothes forever, clothes and sneakers, and then that just started escalating into more, I really started caring about like what I was wearing, really figuring out like how to put things together, colors, patterns, proportions, really all of that. And I always thought making clothes was cool and having a brand was cool, but I never really knew how.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really understand how you could even like go about doing something like that. But found FIT'em out in LA, like a design and business school right in downtown Los Angeles. Did the application, did all the shit I had to do for that, got accepted, and I just really had to ask myself, is this what I really, really want to do?
And you were weighing that. I remember talking to you about your determination process between stay local, go to Millersville University, wrestle on the team, continue wrestling in life, sort of go like the traditional planned path, or buy a plane ticket, take the ride,
and just say fuck it, right?
Just say fuck it.
See where it goes.
So 3 years into it.
Yeah, 3 years. I went out there. I had a different brand before this. I had a homie, his name's Victor from Las Vegas, and we just got together, started chopping it up. We got cool right away, and then started doing that thing. We started meeting famous decks. We met Warhol. We were meeting some up-and-coming rappers in the SoundCloud scene before it was like the SoundCloud scene. Before
clout culture.
Yeah, before
mainstream.
it was before the clout goggles, before all that type shit. When like having colored hair was really different, you know?
Yeah.
Those rappers who had colored hair, that was like the next wave. That was the next generation.
Okay, so that you kind of got in the ground floor of that.
Yeah. Started getting into that music. I started fucking with Lil Yachty a lot senior year, and that's really who got me like into all that kind of stuff. He got me interested in like that type of music, and
Lil Boat. Yeah.
First mixtape. First song I ever heard by him was Hella O's.
Okay.
That shit, I don't know, just hearing that type of music and seeing he was like a kid my age.
Right.
Who, same thing I said, really just said fuck it. And was like, this is what I want to do. He made the plan for it, just thought it all out in his head and just executed it. And it was just hella inspiring, and it kind of just, I fell in love with all that. So then was out there with my friend, like I said, meeting famous decks, meeting Warhol, getting close to them, having...
And who's famous Dex and Warhol for people that aren't familiar?
So famous...
Of course I'm familiar, but...
Famous Dex and Warhol, they're both rappers out of Chicago.
Okay.
Famous Dex was like definitely a pioneer for like the underground scene.
Yeah.
Had some big songs way back, 2016, 2015, early 2017. Started just that whole wave, the whole SoundCloud wave. Yeah, and then Warhol was another guy out of Chicago, and it's kind of crazy how we got him in some stuff. I saw he posted his Snapchat on Twitter one day.
Okay.
And I was like talking to my homie, I was like, I'm gonna add him and just hit him up one day and see if he responds.
Yeah.
Added him, sent him a picture of some shit we made, and I was like, yo, I fuck with your music. Like, I know you're just coming out. Me and my friend have a brand. It'd be cool if we could send you something. Like, are you down for that? He said, hell yeah. So we sent a shirt and a pair of pants out to Chicago.
What?
And he posted that shit just literally in his hood and in the neighborhood. Posted up on the street. And from there, I mean, that was kind of all the motivation I really needed.
So that was your first, would you say that was your first kind of big win? That's just reaching out to somebody that you really appreciate their music, their lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And having them respond so favorably.
Yeah, and just the way that he was talking about it. Because he was young, too. We're about the same age. He's 20, 21, early 20s.
Yeah.
And he was trying to do his shit. I was trying to do my shit. And it was just cool. Really seeing someone from a whole different environment, too.
Right.
Chicago and Lancaster. Very, very different.
I'm sure.
But seeing someone like that who kind of appreciated anyone who was fucking with him at the time, anyone who was listening to his music, supporting his hustle, supporting him coming up, really paying attention to him, I feel like he liked that, and we kind of wanted the same thing in return. So sent that out to him. That kind of got us a little bit of attention online. And then the way we met Famous Dex was we were hanging out with some girls one time, and I saw they posted on Instagram. They're like, hey, we're having a kickback, but ladies only. And they always post that shit. Famous Dex is always posting stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And we said to our friends, we were like, yo, you guys should DM him and get the address. They're like, all right, whatever. So it was me, him, and then 3 other girls. And they got the address. We drove, it was so long. It was like an hour and a half, fucking stuck in traffic, all this shit. We go out, pull up to this random apartment building, and we're chilling outside, and the doorman isn't letting us in. And we're like, man, this is such a waste. We drove all this way, hyped it up so much. These people are so excited. We told our friends already. We were posting on Instagram, Snapchat, all that shit. And then right around the corner, another underground rapper, Uno the Activist. He's pretty poppin'. He's from Atlanta.
Okay.
He came around the corner, and him and I, my friend, we recognized him. And we're like, oh, what's up, Uno? And he's like, hey, man. He didn't know who we were.
Sure.
So he liked the love. Everybody likes that type shit. So he opened the door, they let him in, and we just followed. Went up the elevator.
Yes.
Yeah, literally.
Making new friends.
Finessed our way in.
Why not?
He went up the elevator. We waited. Then we went up and knocked on the door. And the girls were standing in front of us. And Warhol, he opens the door, lets the girls in, whatever. And he sees me and my homie. And he's like, nah, man, no guys in here. And we're like, Warhol. And he's like, wait, you the little homies who sent me that shirt, right? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, oh, shit. And then the whole party is all like
so you sent him a shirt. He remembered that. And he's like, all right, come on in.
He was wearing it on his tour he was going on. With Ski Mask the Slump God, Lil Pump, all people who are the biggest names in the underground right now. He was wearing that shit around them when they were all popping off, when they were grinding. The beginning in the mud, when SoundCloud, when that wasn't a thing.
Okay.
When people didn't respect you if you were making music for that,
Okay.
So he saw that, and it's a party with a bunch of girls and then a bunch of Chicago fools, if you know what I mean. We stuck out. A tall, skinny white kid with blonde hair and then a Mexican from Las Vegas. We were not in that crowd. And he goes, yo, Dex. And he looks over, they stop the music. He's like, these are them little homies I was telling you about. We go in, Dex comes over, we give him some clothes, chop it up for a little, get the picture, kick it, and we can't believe it.
So it wasn't a waste of an hour and a half drive.
Not a waste at all.
Not
we
even
get
a little
the picture,
bit.
we post that shit.
That's awesome.
And then after that, our phones are just blowing up for a week. Homies, random people. I had people on Facebook I haven't talked to since elementary school.
Right.
Messaging me yo, I can't believe you met those fools. How did you do that? So I don't even know. I couldn't even explain myself.
It's just
weird.
happened.
It's weird thinking about that, how we kind of did that shit. Just right place at the right time, I guess.
Sure. But you were prepared for that. I mean, you did all the things leading up to that. You're like, hey, I'm familiarized with the music, really into that. Sent out the clothing beforehand.
It wasn't just some random kids trying to do some shit.
It was intentional.
We knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
But we didn't know what we were doing.
Exactly.
But then that type shit happened. That definitely got us and our brand got us up, got some people, got some attention looking, and then we're making more stuff, giving it out to people, and then No Jumper, another podcast out there run by Adam22, just about the whole underground rap scene. They moved from downtown LA to Melrose, like one of the most poppin' streets in LA. Round 2 was over there, right by Fairfax, where Supreme is. Like, everyone knows where Melrose is.
Right.
So they had their store opening, and it was me, my friend Victor, and our other homie Max, all just wearing our shit, our own brands, all that. And then someone there recognized us, and they were only letting like their homies or other rappers inside to go to the back, and that's where you wanted to be.
Sure.
It was all just the kids out front.
That's where it happens.
Yeah, that's where it was popping at. It was all just the random kids out front, just the fans, you know?
Right.
So they invite us in, and we're just standing there, and all of us are like, we're 18, fresh out of high school, right in there, just starting like making clothes, just starting having a brand, all that. And we're like, whoa, like we really shouldn't have been there, you know? We weren't like a part of that. We didn't really know anybody. And like everyone's walking past us. Xavier Wolf is walking past us. Adam22 is walking past us. Fat Nick, Tyler Grosso, Lil Peep, he's walking past us. And we were like, dog, that's Lil Peep.
Wait, Lil Peep.
Lil Peep. Lil Peep, Tyler Grosso, and Fat Nick come in. And Lil Peep, he's one of my all-time favorites. And all of us were, rest in peace to my dog, man. All of us were shitting bricks. Like, we can't believe this. So we're in there just chopping it up with everybody, giving clothes out. I painted this jacket. It's like some cool ass shit on this like green, like military type jacket. And I gave it to Adam22. And he was like, whoa, like I've never seen some shit like this. And I'm gonna take credit for that. That was the first type of like painted jacket, like DIY type thing that I've like seen on the internet, like really popping off like in that scene. Now everyone wears stuff, painting on their jeans, painting on this. I'm gonna take credit. Me and my homie started all that.
Wow.
He posted us on the No Jumper channel, and then the next day dude, our phones were going crazy. He posted us in 2 different videos. He posted just us, and then we gave him a flyer with like all our social media, and he put that in the video. Followers spike on the brand, on me, on him, all this stuff. So shit's just going crazy. And that was just one of those moments where it's like, if you can do it, you know, like you can really.
That was one of those moments where you're like, this isn't just, we're not just kids with a dream, we're kids living the dream.
Exactly.
You're
really
walking
working it. Yeah, we're doing our shit. And just from there, I mean, it kind of escalated. And then a couple months went by, and then my homie, shit happens, and then he moved back to Las Vegas. And then I was kind of just stuck. I was like, well, I'm not going to continue a brand that I made with him, or it's our ideas, like all that shit. So then I just kind of I was thinking for a while. I had like a whole summer I was just thinking, and I knew from then in like middle school and high school, I wanted to have a brand called Farrar. That was like my shit. I'd write it on little notebooks, write it on my desk at home. I have like a bunch of like original logos before I actually had it with like dates on it of like 2014,
oh my god,
2015, like all this stuff on there. And I was like, well, right now is the perfect time to start my own shit. Started doing that, made some t-shirts, sold those out, and then just from there, I mean, I've just been grinding really ever since the summer of like 2017. Spent on my own shit, and it's just been growing and evolving from there, really.
So, what is like your coolest memory of starting your own brand? Like, because you've been thinking about Farrar for a while.
Long time, yeah.
And like, when was the moment you're like, you know, for me, like when I was dreaming about doing MMA, like the coolest part was like walking out for my first fight. Like that was to me the moment, like, all right, like this is real. Like that wasn't just me like posting on social media and going to the gym and training, like doing all the, you know, the interviews for that. Like no, it's actually for real. Like, and a lot of like restaurant owners, they'll frame their first dollar. Like what was the first item of clothing you sold with your new brand?
It was I sold 2 things. It was a t-shirt and a long sleeve. A white t-shirt and a black long sleeve shirt. And I remember being so nervous because I had like no money at the time. Broke ass kid in LA. Like my friend just moved. Like other homies that I was cool with, like we just kind of went our own separate ways.
Right.
And I was like, damn, like do I want to, I wasn't working at the time either. So I was like, do I just want to spend my money and just try and do this? Went and bought the shirts and then was in Photoshop trying to make designs, logos, all this. And the first time when I like had that feeling, when I went and picked them up after getting them printed, I bring them back to my apartment and open the box and I just see it. I just see like Farrar printed on the shirt. And I was like, whoa, like this is real. Like this is me now. This is my shit. This is my idea. This is something I've been thinking about for a long time.
Wow.
And that's just like...
So you open up the box and you see it.
Literally, just like Christmas morning, you know, you take the wrapping off the presents.
But you're Santa Claus and the kid.
I'm the Santa Claus and the kid getting the presents.
Yes.
Just open the box and I just see it. And I was like, wow, like this is real. Like everything that I've been thinking of since like 8th, 9th grade, all that shit. Being a little kid, like how do I even go about starting a brand?
Right.
I was like, I did it. I just did it. And then that stuff sold people in Lancaster, some people out there were buying stuff, some people in Las Vegas bought stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's just like the coolest feeling. Something you made, something you thought of, your idea, and you see people who actually fuck with it, who actually support you and like they like that you're doing what you want to do. That was just, I can't really describe that feeling.
You know, I've got quite a bit of your clothing.
Yeah.
And I wore one of your shirts out downtown Lancaster when I was out with a girl on a date, and one of the guys behind the bar talking to me, he's like, I'll never forget this. He was like, yo, where'd you get that shirt? Like, do you know who made that? I was like, yeah, that's my buddy Zak Kelly. He's like, dude, like I've been trying to get one, but they're sold out.
No way.
And to me, that was a cool moment because I talked to you before you went out to LA.
Yeah.
And supporting it. I'm like, I don't know this guy. Like, he doesn't know me.
Yeah.
But he knows this shirt. Yeah, and he wants this shirt.
That's the coolest feeling.
And I get so many, like, if I go out somewhere and I wear like a normal, like, normal clothing, people will just say, oh, hi, how you doing? But if I wear your stuff, mm-hmm. I'll get like questions and comments.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Like, where'd you get that?
It's a good feeling, obviously, when people buy it and like you see money that you're making and you see like profit and all this shit. But the coolest thing, and really that gives me like that motivation and that drive just to never stop, is when I see people I haven't talked to since high school, or even people that are like returning customers and just really, really support it and post all the time. When they just tell me, they're like, man, like I remember you talking about this, and like we were sitting in class and you were telling me, or like I've been following you on social media for some time now, and like what you're doing, like I fuck with it.
Yeah.
Like it's inspiring. Like you do it yourself. I print everything myself. I taught myself how to make screens, buy the ink, buy everything I need to.
How to do, you taught yourself how to do all the social media and all the
social media, marketing,
all the advertisement.
Absolutely.
You're doing e-com sales. You're doing, the production mm-hmm.
of
that. You're doing all the logistics with
just
shipping.
I mean, everything that you could think of with a business, like I just do it myself. I have some friends, like my girlfriend, and then I have a homie Ian, and I ask them for ideas, and like if I have some shit in my head, like what do you think about this, or like could you help me with this? But really everything is just me, just in my little studio apartment. I got ink all over the floors. Somehow there's ink on my ceiling. Like I don't even know how this shit happens. Yeah, right. It just flies up there.
You're in the zone, it just flows.
If I have shit to do, I just do it. That's just kind of how I was brought up. If you want something, if you have a dream in mind, or you want to achieve something, you just do it. No one's gonna help you. No one can do it for you. If you want it that bad, you just gotta really work for it. So like, I'll stay up till 6 a.m. I'll be up for 24 hours, 2 days at a time, just printing stuff, running around. Gotta clean this screen. Gotta burn another image. Gotta go buy more shirts, buy more ink, buy new squeegee. Like all just type shit. Everything that I need to do. Like it sucks in the moment, and I might be tired as fuck. I might be hungry. I might have $3 in my bank account. Like that shit sucks, and that's discouraging,
But it's also probably motivating.
It's motivating as fuck.
Because, so we both wrestled, and when you're cutting weight for a match, like you're like, oh, I haven't eaten.
That's the worst feeling
I'm so
in the world.
hungry. But at the same time, you're like, I'm gonna kick this dude's ass to make this experience worth it.
It makes it worth it.
You know,
because
if you don't sacrifice anything, it's like you don't almost like appreciate the reward as much.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of just like what you said, the reward, it just feels so much better when you know that you've put in that work.
Yeah.
When you see kids who it's like, or you see just people who when they accomplish stuff and you know it was like easy for them, or just when people don't work so hard for things, like it's cool and obviously like good for them, they accomplish stuff. But when you just see people who really, really are grinding for stuff and it takes long time and you know they put in the work,
right?
Like that only, at least for me, that just makes me respect them more. And then when I do that for myself, that just makes me, it's so much more rewarding. I appreciate just everything that comes with it. I appreciate like how it comes out, the product, the whole process, and then just the people who buy it, the people who support, all the people that message me, like all that shit is just so much more rewarding because I know no one can tell me different. Like have been putting in work.
They can't take it away from you.
Yeah. Like there's like I don't know, just shit's tough, you know? There's hard times, but like if you really want it, I just been grinding for it.
So you went out for school, but like all you're talking to me right now about, like that's your brand. That's like almost like your passion project.
It's me.
But that's not necessarily, like you also have a job and you also have school to do too, right?
Yeah. So I'm in
school. So you got like three things that are pretty, for some people like they just go to school.
Mm-hmm.
Some people they just have a job.
Yeah.
But like, you're doing, and some people like if they're brave enough, they just have their passion project. Mm-hmm. But you're doing all three.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the other stuff that goes on that's not just, I mean, like, how do you balance all that?
Well, I'm in school right now. I'll be done school in December.
Okay.
I go to FITM. It's like a business and design school right in downtown Los Angeles. Go for merchandise marketing.
Seems like it fits what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So every project
it's not like you're picking some like, not applicable major.
Yeah. So all projects, I just get to apply it to my brand. Presentations, I get to hear ideas from people. I get feedback. I'm not scared to ask somebody something, even a random person, because sometimes those random people, the stuff they tell you,
they'll give you the most honest feedback.
They don't give a fuck about you.
Sure.
I don't know who they are.
Right.
I'm just asking them to hear what they have to say. So if someone tells me, yo, this is whack, that I know that they're being serious. And if I ask a homie and they're just like, oh no, it's cool, man, I
doesn't
fuck with
hurt
that.
your feelings almost.
Yeah, because they're just being a friend. Sometimes it's good to have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just grinding that shit out.
So FITM is like, yes, and so you're doing also like e-commerce there. Mm-hmm. You're doing design,
social media, learning Photoshop,
all the stuff that's actually necessary for your.
Yeah, I mean the school's alright. I'm not trying to like promote the school.
Sure.
It's honestly not like the coolest place in the world. There's a lot of shit fucked up about it. Yeah, but it's that's definitely a place that like, if you're doing something outside of it and you apply it, I feel like you get way more out of it than if you're just kind of going through coasting. But it's alright. Whatever. I'm just ready to be done with school, not have to worry about stuff like that.
Right. And then when you're done with school, you're gonna stay out in LA and continue your own base.
I plan to. That's where everything is. That's where my friends are, my girlfriend's there. That's where my wholesaler is, my little lady Yu, my little Asian lady Yu. That's my dog right there.
Shout out to you.
My printing place, my supply stores, like everything I need is right there.
Right.
And it's all so close to each other. It takes me 10 minutes to get anywhere out there.
So it's a perfect storm.
It's perfect.
Cool. So what is like the plan for the future? Like so far, the last time we talked about like the vision casting. Mm-hmm. So that's something like we use in business and sales as like, all right, painting the picture for the person you're trying to convince of, either a product, service, or idea. But what's the vision for? I heard it 5 years ago. What's the next 5 years? What do you see in store? What's the goal?
Really, just staying true to what I've always wanted to do. I feel like there's so many brands that are successful, and they may have gained success and like more money and more followers and more attention faster than I am, but all those brands look the same. All their social medias look the same. All their product pictures look the same. All the photo shoots look the same. There's not that much diversity between the clothes, like all that. Mm-hmm. I really like the stuff that I make is what I really like. You know, I'll ask people like, hey, what do you guys want to see? A lot of girls have been hitting me up saying like, you should make more stuff for girls, make sports bras, make like crop sweaters, stuff like that. So I'll listen to what people want, but then try and just still give it my own twist, because I really want that like brand identity. I don't want to just be a brand that's around for a couple years. You know, this is some shit I'm looking at 20, 30, however many years, and then whenever I'm not here anymore, I want people to be talking about me forever. I want people to be talking about the brand forever. I still have the first screens I used, these big ass wooden screens all fucked up, holes in them, shitty ass burns in it, like all that. I want to keep that. I'd love for that shit to be in museums. Like,
it's almost like when a cage fighter has their hand wraps.
Yeah, when you have, like my brother's a pro fighter, shout out Zak. He has, from all his pro fights, he has the hand wraps on there, he's got the gloves on there, he's got his belts hung up, his medals hung up, everything. Yeah, it's just cool to see. I just love that kind of stuff.
They're like your little, like your sweat trophies.
I feel like and like with making everything myself and like keeping those screens and just using all that shit, I really try and make that like personal connection. Like, I'm touching every piece of clothing, you know. I have designed all this. I made the screen. I went and bought all the supplies. I print this shit on my floor, like all that. I'm trying to make that connection between me and the brand, and then the consumers, the audience, all that. I want it just to feel more of like a community, the whole crime family aspect, you know, rather than just, this is FCF the brand and you guys are the customers. I want everyone to feel like they're a part of something.
So that's a great, you know, unique attribute about what you're doing, because a lot of people that I find that I've come across on social media as an avid user will find something that's cool and trendy, and they'll use like a Teespring account, or they'll do like a Shopify account, or they'll do like just all this drop shipping craze. Well, they'll put like, you know, and I bought some of this stuff because I'm like anybody else, that they find something in pop culture that they want to get.
Yeah, and it's cool.
They want to get something cool like that. But you're like, no, this is my culture. It's like almost like the anti-pop culture.
Trying to just differentiate myself, you know?
Right.
Be that rebel with everybody. Like, I love Kanye West. That's how Kanye West is. That's how he kind of approaches the music game. Does not give a fuck what anyone has to say about him. Can make one album that sounds like this, make another album sounds like this. Makes clothes that look like this that everyone's gonna make fun of and say, why are you making homeless clothes? Why you do this? But then you look a year after that, and that's what every other brand is doing, you know? Like, I feel like if you stick to yourself and you just do your own ideas and you really put out what you like and what you genuinely fuck with and what you love, people are gonna be attracted to that, and people will really appreciate that over time. If you're doing what everyone else is doing, you might be getting the attention and the eyes and the success right now, but then in 5 or 10 years or however long it is, you get overshadowed, you get just pushed away.
Right.
I don't want to be a trend, you know? I'm not trying to I don't give a fuck if I don't have 10,000 followers right now. Like, the people who follow me, I fuck with them.
Yeah, everybody really started with one follower. No matter who you are, no matter what you have ever done. You know, like Michael Jordan got cut from junior high basketball. Well, I'm sure like either his mom or dad was like, it's alright, you know, I'm still gonna go see your games.
They're still supporting
you know, they still have one follower.
All the people that say stuff to me when I'm like, damn, like, is this shit worth it? I'm spending my money, you know, all this time, and like, I'm not getting the results that these other brands are getting. But then when I see people who, they tell me exactly what I just said to you, man, I like your brand because it's different. I can tell like you're really trying to do like your own thing. When I wear this stuff, people give me compliments. People ask what it is. And when I wear X other brand, whoever it is, like, it's just another t-shirt. It's an attention grabber, it's a conversation starter, and it's like you're wearing art, you know? That's how I kind of look at it.
Man. Alright, Jake, we're back. We're just talking about sort of how you differentiate yourself between other brands, what your goal is in the long-term future, sort of, you know, getting a nice little brief history lesson of where you came so far. But like, you're talking about, one of the things I wanted to follow up with you and question about too is like, you know, you're talking about your inspirations for doing this, because, you know, quite frankly, you know, people haven't seen this type of clothing on the scene, but we're coming from Lancaster County, where we're out on my front porch and we're seeing Amish people wearing the plainest clothing. and rolling around on scooters and just living it like it's, you know, the Neolithic era. So coming from Lancaster, like, what were your inspirations to really pursue this? You know, Kanye West was one of them, but like, what else?
I mean, I've always been a fan of Kanye, but more just like music. Obviously, when I was younger, that's just what you hear. That's what I saw on MTV, YouTube, all that type shit. But when I first really started getting into stuff was probably like 7th, 8th grade, and I was watching people like Professor Snap, the Iceman 289, people who were really in this like vintage thrifting game before that was a thing. Okay. I remember asking my parents to take me to Goodwill, and they were like, "Why do you want to go to Goodwill?" I was like, I'm trying to thrift. I want to thrift. I want to get cool clothes no one has. I want to go school shopping at a bunch of Goodwills. And they were like, what is wrong with you? But those type of people, it was like just finding something new, and then the way they would put outfits together, and then they kind of really big YouTube. That's kind of where I started
YouTube
finding
is where
everything.
It started, which is like
Absolutely.
the grassroots channel.
Because there was no one else around here doing stuff like that. And I had some friends that were into like streetwear, people into Supreme, people into Palace. But this was like even before that. This was when, like, before the Tyler the Creator music video Yonkers came out, and then Supreme went to another level. It was even like before that, like just really into this fashion shit and clothing before
and the way
other people
found that was primarily through, and like you also touched on this too, like when I was in 7th and 8th grade, it was primarily MTV, it was primarily like VH1, and like for some people it was Country Music Channel, but that was not me. But like YouTube was in the infancy stages then, because I was in junior high in like 2004 to 2006, and YouTube was more popular like 2006 onwards. Yeah. But that's where you went to look. That's where you did the research. That's where you found like entertainment.
That's just where I was just going down those holes on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, where you finding one thing and it leads you to another person with another video. From those people I mentioned before, it led me into Jacob Keller out of Portland, Oregon.
Similar to Jake Kelly.
Similar to Jake Kelly.
Name,
exactly.
But not similar as a person.
That was the person who I first heard of like Karma Loop from, Plunder. That was the only guy I really saw who was doing like clothing hauls and getting stuff sent to him, and then other brands would reach out, and I was like, man, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen. Like, you're buying stuff and just making a video of it, and just like the clothes were cool, his style was cool, how he put stuff together. And then me sitting over here being in 8th, 9th grade in Lancaster County, I'm like, alright, I want to go buy a Mishka t-shirt and a snapback and some fucking cargo shorts, some low Vans and some high socks, and like wear some shit like that, you know? And my parents look at me all funny, and people at school like didn't look like them anymore.
Right.
And just like really trying to branch out and finding what I actually liked. And then from there, that led me into finding like I knew who Balmain was when I was in like 9th grade. Like, nobody knows who the fuck that is in Lancaster. Like, wanting biker jeans that are like $3,000, and I'm like, how do people afford this? Like, stuff like that, just finding it, and like, it was just so interesting to me, because I cared, like, I loved dressing, I loved clothes, and video games where you could make stuff, I was always making 100 characters and making them all look different, like all that type stuff. I just always liked that, and it just kind of escalated, and the more people that I found out about and saw what they were doing, I was like, this is actually something that you can do. And seeing where they're going, like Jacob Keller, who I mentioned, he went from making Karma videos to working at a store named Macus out in Portland, which was in like a high-end store, sells like Rick Owens, Off-White, like that type of stuff, high-end designer, streetwear type clothes. And now he has his own brand, Bare Knuckles, and they make crazy stuff. And like, I remember watching that kid when he was 19 years old, when he was my age, and like he probably had this vision in his head, but he didn't know how to get there, and he just took whatever steps he had to, and now he's doing his own shit. And people like that really inspire me, because it's like, you can really do whatever you want. Like, that's like the corniest thing people can say.
Like the American dream.
Yeah, like you can really do it if you just work hard and you don't give a fuck, and you just stick to what you want to do and just don't stray from your path. You don't quit when stuff gets hard. You don't give up. You can really, really accomplish what you want. And that, I mean, from training with you, training with my brother, wrestling since 2nd grade, like that's always the mentality I've had. If you want to get first place at a tournament, you fucking go to practice and work hard.
Right.
If I want to have a poppin' brand and this is what I want to do for my life, this is how I want to make a living, like I just gotta work. Like I can't get discouraged if I'm not where other people are. You know,
it's not their journey.
Exactly. Everything's different. Like I said, I'm not trying to be one of those cookie cutter brands nowadays where everything looks the same.
I feel like one of the things I wanted to bring up now, you just made me remember it, thank you for whatever you said that made me remember it, was that like a lot of people like, oh, why are you wearing that? Or why, like when you said your parents were like reluctant to bring you to Goodwill for clothes shopping, or like a lot of the names you dropped, like I don't understand, I don't know who they are, but through you I can sort of see the influence and kind of get the gist of who they are. But like when you're trying to do something new and unique that's yourself and staying true to that, it's that you have to realize that people will always hate what they don't understand.
Exactly.
So you have to keep doing you so you can educate other people so that they then become to understand.
There was people who
like it's all like a learning curve. So like you have to spend, if you didn't spend the time through junior high, through elementary school, through high school, like you're just dreaming it up, like writing the logos, going on YouTube, going thrift shopping, researching, how do I do this, how do I do that, putting in the work, like you would not understand even what it is. But
exactly.
So you have to be the first person to understand it, then you can bring it to market. And then once it's in market and you do everything else, like you keep creating content, you keep creating product, like then people are gonna really start to understand and fuck with you that aren't on like the wavelength.
And I feel like people are really starting like right now. Like I've been getting messages from random people who I don't know. I've finally been getting orders in Michigan, Colorado, Wisconsin, Florida, like random states I've never been to in my life. I couldn't name 2 cities in those states.
Yeah.
But people order them and they're like, dog, I wore this to school, or I wore this to a party, and everyone's asking me where I got it. And like that is the coolest feeling ever. Like I thought of this shit in my fucking apartment, and I printed on some jeans, I printed on some t-shirts, on some hoodies, and I don't know if someone's gonna like it. I like it, but really, like that doesn't matter to the world.
Right, but you're making this for you, and other people appreciate that vision.
And now, the more and more that I'm posting about it, the more I'm kind of understanding how to go about doing all this stuff, you know? People are really seeing, like, the work I'm putting in. They're seeing how often I'm working on it. It's not just 1 day a week. It's not 2 days a week.
It's every single day.
I told myself I'm trying to do something 7 days a week, and even if I'm not printing shirts 7 days a week, I'm on the computer thinking of stuff. I've really been a lot of designs that I've been making, I've been drawing them out. I have so I do 2 kind of drops. Like every month I'll do just like a little drop, couple pieces, maybe thrift some stuff, do some stuff to them, print on it, sell that. But then 2-3 times a year is called the installation, which is like a big drop. There's like a purpose behind it, kind of a story, a whole rollout to it.
Okay.
All those designs that I'm going to be doing for the end of the year, all going to be hand drawn. A lot of the pieces are going to be dyed, or they're going to be altered in my own way. Just, I don't know, really just, like I said, doing something that's like differentiating myself.
Man.
It's all just art pieces, you know? That's how I want it to be seen in the long run. I don't want it to be a brand. When I'm dead and it's 80 years from now or 50 years from now, like, I want to be in like art history books that people are learning about in high school. I want these wooden screens covered in paint to be in museums, like how Virgil Abloh's Pyrex screens are in museums. Like that's the level I want to be at. I want to be at the Andy Warhol type level, like that.
I was at the Andy Warhol Museum before in Pittsburgh,
and it's amazing.
And it is so sick.
Amazing. He's such an inspiration to me.
And you look at, so one of the things that I want to bring back up, you're talking about how in order to win in wrestling and when your vision is you work on this 7 days a week, it's a lifestyle. So
absolutely.
Like Andy Warhol had a lot of stuff that he just like created, but his volume, I think the Warhol Museum is like between 5 and 7 floors.
That's pretty big.
So it's a huge building, like all the shit he did. So like he did so many things, and it's not like he just like had like a one-hit wonder. It's not like he just like thought of like put all of his life work into one piece. Nah, like he just kept producing.
It was different.
It was all the time. And like you think about this, like of all the classical musicians out there ever, like you can name like Mozart, Bach, Beethoven, and that's about the extent that I can name.
I don't know anyone fucking other than that.
Right, but there's a lot more than that. So like of their music, you might recognize like a couple scores, but they had to create, let's say that they have like 10 hits, like that everyone will know. but they had to create like 10,000 songs total.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So it was just like, oh man, if they would have got discouraged, if their first like 10, 50, 100 songs like didn't sell, then you would never get these things that have endured hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
But it's just like a numbers game. It's like, no, like you're constantly outputting so that you have a larger like library. And I think that point is extremely, like, for example, for wrestling, I'm just going on this tangent because I'm just like excited about it, but like for wrestling, like you don't just hear about some, like Jordan Burroughs just doesn't show up to a wrestling tournament. Oh, well, it's the Olympics. It didn't really work out the last month, but I'm going to go in and try and win it. No, like it's every single day. Or like weight loss, for example. Mm-hmm. Like that's 7 days a week.
That's
like,
not something, that's such a good example. That's a perfect example because that's something that it's only relying on you. Nobody else can help you lose weight. No. People can give you a diet. People can tell you how to work out. But if you really want to lose the weight, you want to just change how you are, you have to work. And like you said, it's not, my stepmother, she's lost 100, 150 pounds. And that was a complete 180 lifestyle change. Like everything
it's a lifestyle though.
Literally a lifestyle. Everything from what she ate to how she would work out, what she would do, everything she would intake, the type of workouts. It's like everything. You can take so much inspiration from so many different things, and they're all related, you know? It might be different aspects, weight loss and making clothing. They seem so different.
But it's the same thing.
But it's the same principle. Exactly. Like I love rap music. Not a rapper, never made a song, never can, that's not my shit, but I love it. And I get so much inspiration from those kind of people, like Young Thug, Gucci Mane, those kind of people. They came from not the best areas, you know, hoods in Atlanta. And when other people would look at them, or like if you would just show someone a picture of those kind of people, they're just going to brush them off. They're not going to be anything, you know. They just live in the hood. They're some poor ass people. They're getting in trouble. They're getting arrested. They're drug dealers. They're this, that. But Young Thug, like, he's amazing. This fool is so influential. There's so many people who would not be making music, who would not be making the styles of music today if it wasn't for him, for putting out all his projects, experimenting, wearing a dress and people calling him gay, saying he's gay, and like just all the attacks he would get. Gucci Mane just put out his 100th project. Like, artists don't put out 100 projects. That fool has so much music. He went to jail. He sold drugs. He was a drug addict. Like, all these people, you know, so many hardships, but they just work, and they work. And I just, like, I listen to their music all the time. I get so much inspiration from their music. I love listening to them talk about stuff. Right. But it's like, if somebody who can come from that kind of environment, you know, like, Lancaster and the hoods in Atlanta are very different. You know what I mean?
Sure.
If someone who can come from that kind of environment can make it to that level, reach that kind of success, reach that kind of fame, that notoriety, people appreciate them, they love them. They literally love those people, you know? They've influenced a generation, multiple generations to come. If they can do it, a white kid from Lancaster can make some clothes and impact some people, you know? Like, those kind of, that's why I love rap music so much. I could talk about it forever. I'm always posting stuff. People ask me all the time, they're like, why do you like that so much? Like, I can't get into it. And not only do I just love the music and I love how it sounds, I like that they talk about drugs and guns and like all that shit. I just love how that makes me feel. I love how it sounds. But I just love seeing like where they came from and where they are now. It's so much motivation and inspiration to me.
One of the people that comes to mind when you know, I'm admittedly like a huge like fantasy literature nerd. Like, I went to college for philosophy and English literature, which, by the way, I do not do that. But I feel like it influenced. It's such a huge crossover to what I do now. Like, it's just telling a story and, you know, creating a good concept and planning something out and executing it. But like, you're familiar with Game of Thrones, you have to be.
Yeah.
You know, we're living in America.
Yeah.
But Peter Dinklage is the guy that plays Tyrion Lannister, who's sort of like, he's one of the main characters. He's like an imp in the show, like he's like a royal midget.
Okay. Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. I've watched like 2 episodes of that, but I know who you're talking about.
Sure. So you know the royal midget Tyrion Lannister. Well, Peter Dinklage, the actor, like, he literally, like, no lie, would like squat in apartments, like have like no money and turn away jobs because they would just use him as like the token like little person.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm not going to sell myself out. and then he was
He knew his worth.
cold, starving, like broke, and he gets this Game of Thrones role, and now he's been in some crazy movies. Like he was in an X-Men movie. He just like stays on these like A-list movies.
He's a star now. He's an A-list movie star.
A-list movie star, and like the guy he played his brother in the show, the character's name is Jamie Lannister, and I couldn't tell you how to say his real name, but he's from like I think it's from like Iceland or something. Let's call it like a northern European country. Dude, the guy like he like grew up in a small farming town, broke. Like he was a professional athlete that got like, injured and cut, so he couldn't do sports.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until he was like just low jobs trying to do acting. It wasn't until he was like 40 that he landed Game of Thrones. And now he's a movie star. So he's just enduring for like 20 years of like keeping the dream. But now like he's the biggest like star that's ever put his hometown on the map.
Bring it back to hip hop. Like Jay-Z didn't start rapping until 26 years old. That man's in his 40s now and he's a billionaire.
With a beat.
Imagine if he stopped. Just imagine that. Like Kanye West. Imagine
it was hard.
Imagine if Kanye West, Young Thug, Gucci, all these people who are influencing generations, who are so impactful, who have changed the music game forever. Not just rap, not just hip hop, music.
Well, look, country music is thought of as like kind of one way. You're gonna be talking about your truck, your breakup, your guns,
And your dog.
Or and your dog.
Some beer.
Some beer, country fried chicken, shit like that. But then you have Lil Nas X.
Comes in, changes the whole game.
Flips it on its head.
Whole game.
And it's just like, how would that even come to... That wouldn't have been able to become reality 2014.
Oh, not at all. They hated that he was doing that and had so much success. They took him off the country charts. And it's a country song.
Yeah.
It's literally a country song. You can't do that just because it's a black kid or just because it's over a beat and it's not someone just playing a guitar,
Right.
You got Billy Ray Cyrus on it. Like, that's stupid. You can do that shit. If you want to change the game, do it your own way. Stick to yourself, stay true, and you can really do that shit.
Well, it seems like you're on the path. You're living it. Like,
I'm going through right now. It's the
it.
early stages. It's the hard stages, but I see where I'm going. I know where I'm going, and I just got to stick to all this shit.
It seems like you're inspired. You got the vision. You got the work ethic. What else do you need? Those two things.
Just need to keep going. Never stop, really.
Yeah.
Lock yourself in a room, 5 beats a day for 3 summers. That's Kanye West said.
That's what was the quote again? He locked himself in a room.
5 beats a day for 3 summers.
5 beats a day for 3 summers. I'm not sure what it means, but I'm inspired by it.
Make 5 beats a day every single day for 3 whole summers.
Wow.
Producer, he wanted to rap. Everyone said he couldn't rap. Did his shit, put in the work, got signed to Rockefeller with Jay-Z, and look where he is now. That's the kind of shit. That's why I love those kind of people. That's why Kanye is such an inspiration. Like, he didn't care if people told him you can't do this. You're just a producer. You're just a black producer kid from Chicago. You're not gonna be anything. Stop wearing pink polos. Stop wearing backpacks. Why are your jeans so tight? But look now. Like, everything is different because of that man. Not just right now, not just for the next couple years. Forever. Everything is gonna be different. And it's because he didn't change. He said, I'll quote a lot of people. All I listen to is interviews. Okay. I love listening to people talk. I get so much information, so much knowledge. I love hearing people speak. People that are not even just rappers, like business people or sports people, anything like that. And he made Dark Fantasy, one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time, one of the greatest music albums of all time, and then says, fuck you guys, and goes and makes Yeezus. Like, the most in-your-face. He said it's like you're playing basketball and you take the ball and say, I'm taking this and going home. Like that. Like, he just did what he wanted to do. And people hated it at first. It didn't get the respect it wanted. But now, however many years it is later, 5 years later, whatever, people are like, that's one of his greatest albums. That's such a game-changing album.
Right.
Things wouldn't be the same if he didn't say, screw you guys, I'm making what I want to make it. I'm not trying to make another Dark Fantasy. I'm Kanye West. You don't tell Kanye West what to do. He does what he wants to do.
That's such a good way to look at it, is that I also really do enjoy listening to interviews and listening to like long form content and conversations. And when I watched Kanye West on David Letterman, David Letterman is one of those talk show hosts that's going to be in the Hall of Fame. That's
he's an OG, definitely.
And Kanye West stumped him. But the biggest quote takeaway that I got from that experience was that Kanye West depicted his superpower not as his ability to influence others, but not to be influenced by others. So he just really, David Letterman didn't know how to respond to that. He's like, what?
That's why I feel that's
crazy.
Why he can do everything that he does. That's why he can make clothes and make music and do all the other ventures he's doing, because he doesn't care when people tell him like, Kanye, you can't do this. Kanye, this isn't gonna work. Kanye this, Kanye that. I'm Kanye West. What are you gonna tell me? And he does it. Can't tell me nothing. And he does what he has to do, and just look at him,
So Zak Kelly, if you had to tell me and everybody watching this one bit of advice that you've learned the last, call it 5 years on the journey to doing, from being a Lancaster athlete, Lancaster County resident, just still in high school, to being an LA fashion designer, what was the one thing that you would like to, one bit of information, lesson you've learned, what bit of inspiration you want to give everybody else to give back, if you had to give 1 point?
If you have something that you think about every single day, you think about it when you wake up in the morning, you think about it right before you go to sleep at night, all throughout the day, and that's what you really want to do, don't listen to your parents, don't listen to your friends, don't listen to anyone being negative telling you that's not going to work, you're in over your head, you're thinking too big, that's unrealistic. Just do it. Because if you work hard and you just stick to it and you really grind and you're doing what you want to do, you can do it. Everybody has started somewhere, Every business has started with one person with an idea. Every brand, every painting, every song, anything has just started with someone with an idea. And they just went, and it just snowballed, and they just kept working, and they never stopped. So if someone can do it, just because it's hard, doesn't mean that it's impossible. You can do shit. You just don't quit. If you want it, just go after it. Get that shit and take it and make it yours.
That is, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's impossible.
Exactly.
That's a good quote. It's a good one. I totally agree. I support. I quit my job. I joined the family.
Yeah.
I support the movement.
Do you want to hear the story behind that T-shirt?
Yeah, I want. Yeah, tell me a story behind the T-shirt.
All right. So I was working at Wolfgang Puck in LA Live, chilling there, doing my shit with my brand, all this. Had a installation 4 coming up, doing a photo shoot, thinking what I wanted to do. And I was like, I really want to dye my hair. I just want to do something different for a shoot, Dyed that shit bright green. Green as green could be, like fucking slime green on top of my head. And I showed my other homie who I work with, and he's like, dog, what do you think they're gonna say? They're not gonna like that. It's like, I don't give a fuck. They can't tell me what to do, I work there, I do my job, I do what I have to do, I'm a good employee, all this. I go into work the next day, everyone's laughing, like, dog, you look crazy, da-da-da, all this shit. And then I see the manager come in from across the restaurant, and he just stops. His jaw drops, his eyes get all big. And in my head, I'm like, alright, I know it's coming, but fuck it. He walks over and he just, what's up, Jake? I'm like, what's up, Jeffrey? How are you? He's like, what's wrong with your hair? I'm like, nothing's wrong with it. What do you mean? He goes, I can't allow you to have green hair. I go, why? He goes, because if you have green hair, someone's going to want purple hair, and someone's going to want this, and everyone's going to be looking like all crazy, and that's not the type of restaurant we are. I was like, okay. He goes, so you need to get rid of that hair by tomorrow, or you can't work here anymore. And I just had to think, I was like, am I going to let this guy who I respect him, I learned a lot from him in the couple months I worked there, am I going to let him tell me what to do outside of work? Am I going to let him dictate my dream, It's something as small as dyeing my hair.
That's freedom.
Exactly.
Of expression.
And he said, you need to get rid of that by tomorrow, or you can't work here. And I stuck my hand out and I said, all right, Jeffrey, I guess this is my last day working here. And his eyes got all big and he went, wait, really? I was like, yeah. It's like, I'm not cutting my hair. I was like, I'm not shaving it, I'm not bleaching it, I'm not doing any of that, I'm just keeping it. He goes, well, all right. finished the shift. That was the last time I ever went back there.
Quit. So you literally quit your job.
Right when I went home, it was just the idea. I wrote it down. Quit your job, join the family. Went in, made the design, and put it on a shirt that literally the next day, and sold the shirts.
Wow.
And haven't really looked back since.
That I love hearing a story. Like, I'm wearing a shirt that has an epic story behind it.
A literal meaning, yeah.
And like, not many people can really say that. Like, their story is like, just, hey, here's a logo. Like, hey, here's...
That's probably one of the biggest...
That's a big differentiator.
That was a big moment in my life, you know? Because I was a job...
balls.
I was making good money.
That takes stones.
I was cool with everybody there,
yeah.
You know, like, I could buy what I want. I was just having a good time. Feeling comfortable for once. Literally for once in my life. I was like, alright, I'm cool right now. And he said that, and I was like, damn. Am I going to let him tell me? Because then anytime I do something, he's going to know that he can tell me what to do. And I can't let some other man have control over me, you know? So I just said, fuck it. I said, thank you, Jeffrey, for everything you taught me. Said bye to everybody, and I never went back. Never picked up my last check, never got my tips, nothing. Just said, fuck it.
See ya.
Sayonara.
Signing off.
True.
My gosh. Well, hey, that's I don't even know what to say. I'm just inspired by that.
Yeah.
I wish everybody could find the same type of level of work ethic and inspiration that you've had and you ran with. If anyone takes anything from this conversation, it's basically just that you gotta risk it to get it. You gotta want it.
Bigger risk, bigger the reward,
don't
baby.
Don't be scared, homie.
Hell yeah, don't be scared, homie.
Great talk, man. I'm feeling energized.
Yeah.
I'm like woken up. But
good.
Hopefully everyone else listening, check out For Your Crime Family.
FEERRARCRIMEFAMILY. Ferrar Crime Family on Instagram. Follow me, Jake.FCF. Follow my man Ross over here. Keep tuning into the podcast and join the family.
Thanks for coming on, Jake.
Absolutely. Thank you, my dog.
Man. And it's good seeing you.
Yeah, we'll catch you later.
Maybe I'll catch you on the west side. Best side.